Hello, I'm hearing in on Ukraine. A couple of things I'd like to talk about today. I mean, Putin's bluster, his threats to engage in a war with NATO or make us fear that Russia will somehow widen the war to include attacks on NATO countries. I like to say that that's absolutely ridiculous. It can only work on hardcore imbeciles or Russian assets. There is no possible way that Putin will escalate this war. He cannot. Only imbeciles can believe that. It is necessary to see it that way. Putin is hard pressed in Ukraine already. He cannot, he should be mobilizing his military, fully mobilizing his military, yet he cannot for political reasons. He himself cannot do so because it is prohibitive. That is, he would spark widespread opposition, and he knows that he would be, I think, closer to being overthrown or removed or retired if he engaged in any further mobilization of troops, which he would need before he can engage NATO. NATO is still, even without U.S. involvement, is the greatest military alliance in human history and would easily defeat Russia. I mean, Poland, I think, and the Baltic states could now defeat Russia. Russia has shown itself to be a paper tiger. Even recent photographs of their most advanced aircraft, the Su-57, have shown that there are structural problems with prototypes. They can't even show proper prototypes. They show these prototypes missing rivets, missing equipment. Russia is basically scraping through on the basis of bluster. Putin cannot escalate. He cannot even mobilize, as I said, his full military. What possibility does he have to further escalate by attacking NATO? None. The nuclear option would be the only one available, and that is out of the question. First, if he cannot mobilize, if he cannot mobilize his full military because of political reasons, how much less can he opt for a nuclear option? It would be his death warrant. He would be probably assassinated by his own military if he ordered that kind of escalation. Uh, he would be fully isolated. China and India would immediately desert him. And even Ukraine, on whom I guess a tactical nuclear weapon would be unleashed, isn't really worried about the nuclear option from Russia. So why should we be? I think that should make it patently clear that Ukraine must be given every resource and must be allowed to strike across into Russia anywhere at any time, um, as long as it strikes military facilities and concentrations. Ukraine is doing very, very well in Kursk. The recent Russian counterattack has seemingly failed. Ukraine has even gotten behind the Russian forces and has flanked them. Every indicator seems to suggest that Ukraine will roll up the Russian troops that were sent into Kursk. In addition to that, we now know that the Russian offensive at Pokrovsk has slowed down, and there may be a transfer of troops from Pokrovsk to the Kursk region, which will achieve, I think, the primary military objective of the Ukrainians in invading Kursk. All this shows that Ukraine can easily defeat Russia if we but give it everything it needs to do so. And there is no risk of further escalation from Russia. It is empty bluster, which unfortunately Putin has used effectively with the assistance of sympathizers. And yes, I do mean Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, Noam Chomsky, John Mearsheimer, Tucker Carlson, and the indicted voices on YouTube. Russia must be defeated. It is in America's interest that Russia be defeated. It is a critical uh, point of interest for the United States to see Russia defeated in Ukraine. It Russia has challenged the international security architecture that has dominated the world since 1945, through which Americans have benefited greatly. Our standard of life depends on it. The dollar as the preferred international currency of exchange depends on it. Russia must be driven back and defeated openly and completely. There is no other choice. This is a critical point of interest for the United States. Um, and we cannot be Pollyannish in assuming that peaceful relations between nations is the norm. It is not. We live in a world full of conflict. History has shown that conflict is rife and constant in human history. The point is to win, to effectively win conflicts and not engage, for example, in Iraq, trying to build a nation state, or even less so in Afghanistan, trying to build nation states where no nation really existed. But this war is very, very different, diametrically different from those wars. This is a war to reestablish the international security architecture and reestablish the US as the dominant world power. It is a necessary prerequisite to American power and survival. Well, if you enjoy what you're hearing, or if you want to comment on it, please comment on it. If you enjoy it, please subscribe. I will be on every week to follow this issue. And I will also do other videos on other subjects. Well, so long.